To Inside the Game. I'm Jonathan Turner alongside Ryan Glinsky and our guest here, Aaron Pfeil, the new head coach of University of Detroit Jesuit and the Cubs, taking over for longtime head coach. I mean, 26 years is where Kevin Tuitt. He's also a division chair for the Michigan High School Soccer Coaches Association. So in very good company, we are here with Aaron Pfeil. Aaron, you started off your season at U of D on a pretty good run. You guys are 5-0-1. You're 3-0 in the Catholic League. You beat the reigning state champions, which, as someone who went to Athens and every year we were fighting for a state championship, I remember very vividly my head coach, Tim Storch, walking into us on day one saying, guys, you are an asterisk on everyone's schedule. Mm-hmm. Like, everyone is looking to beat you because you won the state championship last year. And I would imagine that Thayer Mukhtar said the exact same thing to his team here when they got all-star getting rolling here this fall. And last night, was it at U of D? Was it at U of D or was it at De La Salle?
It was at De La Salle.
So not only do you go in and you play the reigning state champions this season at their home field, you beat them by a score of 2-1. And I don't know where they were at as far as that, but I believe that was their second loss of the season, their first one against Catholic Central. So they've lost their 2 games so far in the Catholic League. But talk so far about what it's like to take over this program, being that you're the first coach to take over in 26 years.
Yeah, first of all, Kevin is a great person. He's a great coach. He is one of the legends in the state of Michigan, and he's been very supportive through this change and this transition, and he's always there, any questions to have. But also, it's just the boys are hungry at U of D. I've never seen a group they come in every day, their work ethic, their determination, their perseverance is there, and they want to win. So it's great to support them and also bring my experience into the table and have that. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. We're still using the tradition at U of D, but then also get a little new mindset. And then they're doing well there. So like I said, the high school season in general is just very tough. Trying to fit in an 18-game season in there, and I think we're short a week this season, so it's almost you have to play 3 games a week back to back. We went in a stretch there. If you look, we played 4 full-time games in 3 nights. One was our first competitive Catholic League game, and again, me coming in from the KLA from Dearborn, the Catholic League by far none is every single night. Our 3 games is physicality, direct play, and it gets countering that. So on that Thursday, we played our first game, and we beat the St. Francis de La Salle, which was the Catholic League champions of last year from Toledo. Tough, great components. And then the next night after, we traveled to Traverse City and we played Oxford up at Traverse City West High School. Yeah, back to back. And it was a tough battle. They were doing a great job. Adam has a great program in Oxford. And then the next day after, we played at 10 and 12 back to back at Williamson and Elk Rapids. So the boys, like I said, were challenged at the beginning, and it's just part of that whole season coming together, that accumulation. You're not always going to pay your best, but can we get results? And you said that word competitive. That's what we're trying to do too. So last year, they didn't have the best season at U of D. So like I said, they also have a chip on their shoulders. I know we've been, like you said, successful our first 3 games in the Catholic League. We're going to get noticed soon because, like I said, we have a talented group of players, and hopefully that asterisk is on us too. So I have to keep the boys ready to go.
Yeah, and when we talk about about this, and something I talked about with at the time was Kevin McConnell, also Jason Clark over at Troy Athens. And if you historically talk about how many coaches have coached at certain high schools, De La Salle, you could probably name on one hand how many coaches ever coached there, right? Troy Athens in their history have had 3 coaches, right? At U of D, how many in the history of U of D, how many coaches have there been, do you know?
That's a great question. I think I'm the 4th,
okay,
if I
so
remember correctly.
Think about that, right? Mm-hmm. So in the history of this high school, which it has some significant history. Now, granted, soccer was not a varsity sport until like the early 1980s. I think 1981, 82. Yeah. I was born in 81. Ryan, I'm not even talking about when you were born. Son of a gun.
We basically told me he was like 70 years old.
I did not say that was Nate, by the way. But with that being said, something that when you start talking about history and a coach been there for 26 years, you're coming in. When you're trying to come into a new program and taking over a program, you can't start from ground zero, right? Or foundation. The foundation's already there. It's a matter of now just trying to figure out how to keep the bus rolling, right, and how to keep it going the same way. Now, maybe some tweaks and things like that, but did you say, hey, I have to do a complete overhaul here, or is this like, hey, no, there's a great foundation. I just need to do this, this, and this to make this a better program?
Absolutely, and even this is more credit to the athletic department at U of D and even our players, because I didn't even get hired until late in the season. End of June, early July. So I really didn't even get to do any summer programs with them. So we started right off at tryouts. And like I said, the boys were hungry. we are looking at it. I think it comes from just my perspective to just listening at that point. What worked well, talking to the players, talking to some experience. My JV staff or my coaching staff has been tremendous. Dan Babcock, just helping us get into that league. And like I said, they just want to win. They're competitive. I've never been around a group that just is determined every single day when we step on the training field. They want to go. I say training starts at 4 after every day. I pull up there because I'm a school administrator in Dearborn Public Schools myself. I get there about 3:45, and all 20 players are already on the field warming up, ready to go. They want this. They want to continue to work. And like I said, I can't continue to tell how happy I am and how proud I am to take over this program, this proud program, and then also just to lead them in the next direction.
So as we talk here about this program, let's talk about your players.
Sure.
Obviously, every coach I talked to, and I was in that same ballpark. Coaching is great, and we don't want to take any of the credit. It's the players. The players in the field who do all this. They're the ones working hard. Who are the players that this year are going to be the difference makers for the Cubs? And who will have an impact on the success of the season?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So our roster is almost a little junior heavy. We have 8 seniors, and then we have 12 juniors. So again, we're looking good. And I don't want to just necessarily, last night it was kind of a good moment for us because all 3 levels played De La Salle. Our JVB team beat De La Salle last night, and our JVA team did too. So that's kind of looking forward. I want to shout out to our whole program there. But, we have a great success overall. And I think it also goes back to our program that we have. I think us being in the middle of the pack for the Catholic League for the last couple of years, they're hungry and they want to continue to go. But we have to give a good shout out. We have Owen Bishop in goal. He's one of, I think he's an all-state caliber goalkeeper. He made tremendous saves last night. He kept us in the game. Like I said, we beat.
So JV last night won as well.
Both of our JV.
So both
programs.
teams won last night. I think that should get the horn. What do you think?
Oh,
Let's do it. Let's do that. 3 of them. Let's give a
I
shout
was
out
confused
there.
what you were asking.
I'm like, why are you hitting the horn? He said both teams won last night. I mean, you can't. Well, hey, when JV.
There you go.
we got the 3-peat against De La Salle. Like you said, the defending state champions. We had that on that match. We wanted to do that, so it's good for them. But like I said, we have. I give full credit to De La Salle, and I told you at the beginning of the show, we stuck in 2 early goals, and then we just held on. We wanted to do that. They played well. They were better than us in the second half too, but it goes to the determination of the boys. And it goes back to, like you said, Owen Bishop in goal for us. He's an all-state caliber goalkeeper. He had some tremendous saves. We have a strong core in the middle. Like you said, I did a 4-2-3-1 against them last night. We have Junior Vasco and then Mitchell. They're playing well in those 6 positions for us holding the ball. And then just in our attack, you know what I mean? We get those early goals, and then we can see where we go. So we're strong, and we're continuing to go.
Yeah, I got one for you. So in my family, my dad and his whole side went to Harper Woods Notre Dame. No, not there anymore, but Catholic League, and they did all that. And he has a running joke with me because obviously Anchor Bay. He went to Anchor Bay as well.
We found that out.
There
Go
we go. That's a
Tars.
horn.
Go Tars.
So we have a running joke that the Catholic League, it just means more. That's what he always tells me. What makes the Catholic League so difficult to play against, and how difficult is it to win that league?
So, like I said, first of all, it's going to play everybody that second round. So we play everybody home and away. So there's these 6 teams, and we may sneak in these couple. We're not expecting U of D to do these things. That second round, expect like that asterisk. We're not going to get away from that necessarily. So it's going to be tougher as we go through it. And just from this is just the physicality of the league. You're going in, never out. You can say how physical it is, but until you actually see 3 games in a row and how the players play and how they bounce off each other, how they get back up, how necessarily kind of direct the play is at some of the level it's hard to possess in some areas, and just the caliber of players. You're talking about some of the players here play for some of the top clubs in the state around there. I'm looking at my bench, and I have some caliber players that may start on other rosters that are coming through, and it's just they want it more. They have that experience, and I say the Catholic League is right up there. Like we said, the Premier League is the top league. I think the Catholic League has to be competitive in the state of Michigan as one of the top.
So you think it also means more? You agree with my dad? It just means more?
Every night is a battle. It's just like when I said in the Premier League, the bottom of the team. Right now, you could say Toledo St. John is in last place, and they gave us a contest. We won 2-0 against them, and they were off free kicks. One was a penalty kick, and one was off a free kick. We didn't get a goal in the flow of play, and they are a good team. So any given night, like you said, De La Salle is 1-2 in the league right now. They beat Brother Rice, and they lost to Catholic Central. They lost to us. So you're looking at somebody that could, again, be a reigning state championship. It's just difficult. It's a battle every single night. I think when I was, like I said, at Dearborn and doing the KLA, I did my schedule. I wanted some of the top teams in the state as my league opponents, because the league, there was a top heavy 3 teams, and there are other games that we're going to win 8-9-0, it'll blow out. In the Catholic League, when I'm doing my schedule, it's the opposite almost. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I can't have Troy Athens, I can't have Troy every single night, because our Catholic League, I already have 10 games that it's a bloodbath, and I don't want to get injuries. So it's kind of moving that season along. So
when you're kind of building, this is your first year, you're kind of building your program. How do you kind of get the message down from your varsity team to your JVB, your JVA teams of, like, this is the standard when you get to the varsity? Like, how do you try to implement that?
Yeah. So the best thing that I do is I make our training sessions coincide together. So they're on the same field as us. So they're seeing the expectations, they're seeing the communication. And then, like I said, our coaches are going back and forth with messages too. This is what I want to see. This is what I want to do. I love to be in part of it. I'm on the sideline with my JV teams. I'm on the training pitch with them too, trying to get players back and forth. If we have an injury and I need somebody for a session, calling someone over to come out, just giving those opportunities to go back and forth and just being a full program. We have a academy team at U of D as well, so we have a 7th and 8th grade, a middle school team, and I'm going to have my varsity team go be ball boys for them. It's just feeling that play in and getting them involved in every aspect, and kind of that's what they want to do. The end result is to be on this team, and that's kind of what they're striving for, their goals for the next 4 years.
Yeah, that's amazing. My last one, you're an Anchor Bay guy, and you said Coach Juke was your coach.
Coach Juke.
He came to a couple of our training sessions, and it was, again, very physical, and you mentioned that with the Catholic League. Do you try to implement any drills from him of trying to be more physical, or any kind of messages you try to get from your team from Coach Juke?
First of all, Coach, I'm sorry that you're seeing me in the Catholic League now, but like I said, it just happens because, like you had said, coming from Anchor Bay, there was almost like a hatred. We played De La Salle every year. We played U of D. I remember one of our big wins back in, I'm not going to say the year because I'm my age, but it is we beat Brother Rice in the regional semifinals and make it to the regional finals, and it was a big for our program. You kind of got that, but absolutely, of course, I've had some great mentors, great influences in my life that put me on this right path, and I'm thankful for all of them. And I think just like anything that you do, you take those mentors, you take little bits of the positivity that they do, and then bring it into your own style, and then at U of D, like I said, I've always high expectations in every program that I've been at, high expectations for our players on the training fields, on the field, and then just building relationships with them and letting them know they're integral parts and that you're part of their life now.